Money in the water often leads to a feeding frenzy. But I had taken care of Valenzuela on enough Christmases to know I had him on the hook exclusively. I could play it cool. The cops booked him for ag assault, GBI, and attempted rape for starters, the bondsman answered. The DA hasn't filed yet as far as I know. The police usually overbooked the charges. What mattered was what the prosecutors finally filed and took to court. I always say cases go in like a lion and come out like a lamb. A case going in as attempted rape and aggravated assault with great bodily injury could easily come out as simple battery. It wouldn't surprise me, and it wouldn't make for much of a franchise case. Still, if I could get to the client and make a fee agreement based on the announced charges, I could look good when the DA later knocked them down. You got any of the details? I asked. He was booked last night. It sounds like a bar pickup gone bad. The family lawyer said the woman's in it for the money. You know, the civil suit to follow the criminal case? But I'm not so sure. She got beat up pretty good from what I heard. What's the family lawyer's name? Hold on a sec. I got his card here somewhere. I looked out the window while waiting for Valenzuela to find the business card. I was 2 minutes from the Lancaster courthouse and 12 minutes from calendar call. I needed at least 3 of those minutes in between to confer with my client and give him the bad news. Okay, here it is, Valenzuela said. Guy's name is Cecil C. Dobbs, Esquire, out of Century City. See, I told you, money. Valenzuela was right. But it wasn't the lawyer's Century City address that said money. It was the name. I knew of C.C. Dobbs by reputation, and guessed that there wouldn't be more than 1 or 2 names on his entire client list that didn't have a Bel Air or Holmby Hills address. His kind of client went home to the places where the stars seemed to reach down at night to touch the anointed. Give me the client's name, I said. That would be Louis Ross, R-O-U-L-E-T. He spelled it, and I wrote it down on a legal pad. Almost like the spinning wheel, but you pronounce it roulette, he said. You going to be here, Mick? Before responding, I wrote the name C.C. Dobbs on the pad. I then answered Valenzuela with a question. Why me? I asked. Was I asked for, or did you suggest me? I had to be careful with this. I had to assume Dobbs was the kind of lawyer who would go to the California bar in a heartbeat if he came across a criminal defense attorney paying off bondsmen for client referrals. In fact, I started wondering if the whole thing might be a bar sting operation that Valenzuela hadn't picked up on. I wasn't one of the bar's favorite sons. They had come at me before, more than once. I asked Roulet if he had a lawyer, a criminal defense lawyer, and he said no. I told him about you. I didn't push it, I just said you were good. Soft sell, Was this before or after Dobbs came into it? No, before. Roulet called me this morning from the jail. They got him up on high power, and he saw the sign, I guess. Dobbs showed up after that. I told him you were in, gave him your pedigree, and he was cool with it. He'll be there at 11. You'll see how he is. I didn't speak for a long moment. I wondered how truthful Valenzuela was being with me. A guy like Dobbs would have had his own man. If it wasn't his own forte, then he'd have had a criminal specialist in the firm, or at least on standby. But Valenzuela's story seemed to contradict this. Roulet came to him empty-handed. It told me that there was more to this case I didn't know than what I did. Hey, Mick, you there? Valenzuela prompted. I made a decision. It was a decision that would eventually lead me back to Jesus Menendez, and that I would, in many ways, come to regret. But at the moment it was made, it was just another choice made of necessity and routine. I'll be there, I said into the phone. I'll see you at 11. I was about to close the phone when I heard Valenzuela's voice come back at me. You'll take care of me for this, right, Mick? I mean, if this is the franchise. It was the first time Valenzuela had ever sought assurance of a payback from me. It played further into my paranoia, and I carefully constructed an answer that would satisfy him and the bar, if it was listening. Don't worry, Val. You're on my Christmas list. I closed the phone before he could say anything else, and told my driver to drop me off at the employee entrance to the courthouse. The line at the metal detector would be shorter and quicker there, and the security men usually didn't mind the lawyers, the regulars, sneaking through so they could make court on time. As I thought about Louis Ross Roulet and the case and the possible riches and dangers that waited for me, I put the window back down so I could enjoy...